Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today we're going to be talking about what is the greatest plan you've ever had, part 1. Okay, I got one. It was an evil campaign and we had to take over 3 realms. The nature realm, the technological realm, and the techno-magical realm. We had a lot of followers and some kind of musical mind control device. We decided to take over the technological realm first, because the others were just too powerful. We decided to check if we had any high-ranking military officers as followers. It just so happens that we did. So we used the mind control device to be able to mind control him. See, this mind control device made you whistle, hum, sing the mind control music, and everyone that heard the song could be, you guessed it, mind controlled. So we sent him to meet with the president/king of the realm and sing the song. Now we had the president mind controlled. So we made him broadcast the song across the entire realm. Everyone was under our rule. Now we also got a lot of technology for this. The DM gave me until next session, about 4 days, to make a list of the tech that I actually wanted. Oh boy, that was a mistake. We had around 500 SAR bombas, among other things. We were about to go to war with the tech magic realm, so yeah. Well, I say war, but it would rather have been a slaughter because not even magic guns could take us on. Now, we also went looking for what we called infinity stones. There were only 4, though. You could use them to reshape the planet to your liking. When we got the stones, one of the party members made a dick island. During the search for the lightning stone, we didn't know which stone at the time, a party member pressed some fuck button that teleported us to a different dimension. So, we had to time skip 10 years just so we could get that back. And at that point, we had already taken over passively as the techno-magical realm attacked us, and in our absence, the army couldn't do much, and the tech magic realm took over. And since everyone was still humming or singing the song, well, they all fell under our control too. That was my favorite campaign, and the greatest plan myself and the party have ever done. Several years ago, I was part of an all-monster PC party, and I was playing a blue, an innately psionic goblin variant, named Six. Six was the youngest of 6 siblings, hence the name, and a self-styled inquisitive, but mechanically was a telepathic scion maxed with bluff and persuasion. The party was hired to investigate a prince who had recently started a whirlwind romance with an ogre mage princess. Ooh. His father suspected it was foul play by the ogre mage to seize the kingdom through their complex marriage laws, and tasked us with finding out the truth before they became married. To this end, he gave us a magical powder that would break any spell on the prince if he could consume it. Now, before we went to the camp where the prince and his fiancée were staying, surrounded by their guards, I asked the DM to obtain several physicians' uniforms from the king's armory. The DM didn't bat an eye and let me pick out a uniform for each of the party members. Six hired a covered wagon, and we left for the camp. On the way, I laid out the plan for the party. The camp was filled with the forces of the ogre's mages, an assortment of ogres and goblinoids, and the prince's guard. It was clear when we arrived that going in guns blazing would not be a wise choice. I convinced the gate guards that we were new recruits, and they just let us in. While the rest of the party goes to the training grounds where the prince oversaw daily drills, I went to the mess hall with my Medusa Ranger party member to find out if we could slip the prince the powder in his food. Oh, to our luck, the prince took regular tea times, which was coming up soon. While the Medusa distracted the cook, I mixed the powder into the prince's tea. The Medusa and I then go to the medical tent, changing into the physician's robes on the way. I introduce myself as the prince's therapist, and say I've arrived to make sure he's handling the stress of the upcoming wedding well, given his nervous history and all. I timed it so that we arrived shortly after the prince drank his tea, which broke the spell. He understandably had a public meltdown about it, and a guard rushed to the medical tent to get him help. I go to the training grounds with the head medic, while the Medusa goes to get our wagon. And we get there and find the prince losing his mind and tension building between the ogre's forces and the prince's guard. Because I had introduced myself convincingly, the head medic vouches for me, and we are able to load the prince onto our wagon without incident. We even got escorted out of the camp. High five. And that's how we rescued the prince, prevented a coup, all without rolling initiative once. This one's actually from the most recent session we've done, and it actually started from being the dumbest amazing plan to a simple plan that could actually work. The start of the plan basically involved me mixing a potion of fire breathing, a potion of invulnerability, and being dropped from the sky by a giant eagle onto an orc war chief with about 10 kegs of gunpowder. By drinking the invulnerability potion, I'd take half the damage that I could have taken from the fall and the explosion that I would inevitably ignite with my fire breath. Then from the smoke, I would emerge with flames cackling and crackling out of my mouth, ready to massacre the rest of the orcs. I obviously would have died because I didn't quite know the scope of the damage, but we managed to just make it a simple yet effective bombing run. That's one hell of a carpet bomb right there. As a DM, I've watched my players make some of the most idiotic plans ever, but there was one time they actually made a good plan. They had entered a major city in search of a corrupt judge. This judge had captured an NPC that my PCs loved, planning to execute them. Now, they spent half the session coming up with a stupid plan after stupid plan until my barbarian said, with a 7 intelligence by the way, "Why don't we go to the hearing and defend the NPC?" This was the only outcome I didn't really plan for, and of course this was the plan they went with. The reason this was such a good plan was because they had 3 PCs with a charisma of 15 or higher, and there is no logical way they would be able to kill the judge, free the NPC, and get away without becoming fugitives and needing to abandon the main city of this game for the foreseeable future. It took a crap ton of persuasion and deception rolls, but they managed to clear the NPC of their crime. The reason this was one of their better plans, however, is because they broke one of the sacred rules of D&D and split the party during the trial. While 2 of the PCs defended the NPC, the rest of them went to the judge's house to cause some chaos. While they were there, they discovered official documents showing bribes and deals made to imprison a large amount of civilians to distract from the crimes the system was performing in front of the city. Recipients of bills sent to drug dealers to circulate new drugs to the lower class, which would bring in money to increase government profits. A list of people also involved with these corrupt actions, and many more pieces of incriminating evidence. Then, they gave all this information to the Crown's Guard, and 15 minutes after the trial, they witnessed the judge being pulled away in handcuffs towards the stockade. TLDR. My party split up to distract a corrupt judge while they raided his house to find evidence of his corruption, while simultaneously defending an NPC in court with the judge present, so it never came back to them. It's like the greatest episode of Judge Judy I've ever heard. High-tech Star Fox game. Ooh, I've never heard of a Star Fox game before. I love it already. My group had to get 30 plus people from point A to point B to escape a planet. And the only problem is that there was essentially an army between the 2 spots. I was playing as a robot and took a recording of one of our more questionable alignment character's voice, edited the spoken words to form a different sentence, and then baited the enemy. I reprogrammed a car's auto-drive functions and made it do crazy loops at high speed around the city we were in, had an enemy radio with the mic trigger taped down and the radio blasting a message through the speakers. Oh, it got the enemy's attention all right, so while they are chasing this car around the city, we moved our people to where we needed them. The message playing was, and we're going to have to insert a brand new character name, so I'm going to call them Jane. My character name is Jane. I'm a massive bitch who wants to change sides to fight for the Andrasi Empire, which are the bad guys. Where is everyone? Hello? Hello? Why isn't anyone responding? Now, this was from a homebrew campaign our DM has created within the realm of D&D. We are in Waterdeep, which I love, and the entire town is being attacked by demons and a red and blue dragon that I don't love. To top it all off, a random black dragon appears out of thin air, possibly an NPC we met previously. It hasn't been revealed yet. Our party just got out of a massive fight with demonic creatures and large monsters, barely surviving. Making our stealth checks to keep out of any more fights and keep hidden from the dragons, we hear a roar. A huge, homebrew demon with a medium-sized serpent attached to the back of its head sees us. I, a tabaxi bard named Garfield, who hates Mondays and loves lasagna, decide that I will lead it away from the party. With my last spell slot, I cast Expeditious Retreat on myself and use my persuasion to convince the demon it's weak and can't handle me. Throwing an Eldritch Blast at it and rolling for damage, I did only 1 damage. This, however, fully convinces the creature to come after me and allows my party to flee. After it attacks and I use Cutting Words, it misses me, and I can run towards the dragons so that they might attack this demon, or maybe the demon will attack the dragons. Movement Speed, Vicious Mockery, Expeditious Retreat. The demon is not close enough to get me, but is still in pursuit. After a few bad rolls to athletics and acrobatics, the demon has attacked me and my party is of course too far to do anything. The DM rolls his dice, and by luck I am taken down to 1 HP and survive his ranged attacks. I have to get away, so I use my movement. Dash, add the extra movement from Expeditious, then double all that with feline agility. I move 180 feet away from this demon, finally making it to the dragons. I roll high on performance using Minor Illusion to taunt this demon and successfully lead him to the dragons. I roll high on stealth and hid with 1 HP. This thing is now in combat with the dragons and some OP NPCs we've met. Oh, I barely survived it, but it was the most epic moment of my character to shine and save the party, as opposed to just talking and doing other normal bard shenanigans. So, last week during a campaign in Ravenka, my monk got thrown into a pit of acid. So I pulled out my second character. Player deaths happen in almost every session, who is a minotaur, but my DM let me use the monster stat block. So I have a 15-foot-tall, 430-pound monster running around. Me and the party's bard go exploring in a cave alone. My minotaur is so big, I'm having to squeeze through this cave when we come to a cliff where we see 3 orcs and a wizard we had been sent to kill. The bard looks at me and says, "I have a plan," and hands me a potion of stone skin and says, "Drink it and jump on the wizard." We talk it over and she convinces me to do it. So I chug the potion. Right as I jump, she casts silence on the bottom of the pit, which is 40 feet down. I land back first on the wizard and crush him into a fine paste, and then proceed to cut up the remaining orcs. You literally turned a minotaur into a frickin' mortar and pestle, and I love it. In my last campaign, my character died, so I rolled up a new, not very serious character. This was a tabaxi wild mage. I was a black and white with a red bow tie and a red and white striped hat. My name was Cat. Hi, Cat. At this point in the story, we were each given leadership over a platoon of soldiers. It was basically like playing our regular characters, but with about 100 guns. I was able to sneak my platoon all the way to the back of the enemy fortress. After some shenanigans from my fellow PCs, there were only 3 platoons left. That's when I put my plan into action. Cat had a little music player in his hat and could play any music needed from it. He and his platoon round the corner, and Cat says, "Hey, have any of you had a dream?" "I had a dream once," one of his soldiers said. The entirety of my platoon then broke into "I've got a dream" from Tangled. With an 18 on persuasion check, the entirety of the other platoon broke into song as well. Then our druid was able to sneak into their ranks and kill the captain. That's easily the best plan I came up with in that campaign. And yes, just for all of you, I'll sing a few lines. "I'm malicious, mean, and scary. My sneer could curdle dairy. And violence-wise, my hands are not the cleanest. But despite my evil look, and my temper and my hook, I've always yearned to be a concert pianist. Just for all of you. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, leave a comment down below letting us know everything that you possibly can about the greatest plans that you've ever made in game. We love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and know above all else that every single one of you are valuable, valued to all of us, and that you, too, deserve happiness. See you later.